Hello, my beautiful Sagittarians, and welcome to April 2020. Oh, do I have such a special message for my soul family this month. I'm already getting full body shivers, so here we go. I'll probably get emotional about this too. I got really pulled to speak to you all today very specifically, and it's just coming out of me. This is almost impromptu, sitting down to do this specific conversation. It's a big time. I think we all know that. And if we are able to refocus our lens on April and what is coming in here for you all in terms of energetics and lessons and mindsets and opportunities, there are some really clear messages coming in for you all. So first and foremost, first half of this month, Jupiter and Pluto are in a conversation at the very tail end of Capricorn. And this is in your second house, right? And we've been doing all the shadow work in second house, but Jupiter and Pluto are really asking you to value yourself. Your ruling planet is over there talking to the Lord of the underworld in a sign that has everything to do with what you love, what you value. And there is a very clear message coming through here that you've got to just own your worth. Your worth, your worth, your worth. There is no half measure here, my friends. There is only you choosing to start believing a little bit more firmly in your presence in this time and place. You're mutable. The world is constantly changing shape and form. That is absolutely true. We don't know everything. We're not in charge of having the reins. We're not in charge of knowing everything before it happens. That is absolutely true. But you can also affirm that you belong here and you have something to give. So that conjunction is really personal for you all. Also, keep in mind now, too, that Venus is moving into your oppositional sign this month on April 3rd. And by April 10th is going to be starting her pre-shadow work in Gemini before she goes retrograde on May 13th. So we are going to be doing a lot of relational work, Sagittarian clan. I'm a Sag rising, so I'm for sure working through all of this with you. And Venus and Gemini, opposite sign, right? It does have to do with relationships, and it also has to do with this message coming through about worth, about owning your place in this process. Now, there's a lot of flirty, fun energy this month. Despite all of the heaviness going on, despite all of the discomfort going on, Saturn is now fully into Aquarius, right? We will be starting our retrograde soon and tipping back to Capricorn later this year, and then finally coming back to Aquarius in December. But during April, Saturn is in Aquarius in your conversational, communicative house. You're setting new foundations for how you speak to yourself, how you make plans, and how you activate your voice. This is very throat chakra work that we're doing here, and it has everything to do with you choosing your value time and again. Mercury is also entering Aries, your fifth house this month. And of course, we have Aries energy lighting up a good chunk of this month, right? Fifth house, heart chakra energy, your creative juices, that childlike joy in the world, that is getting tapped into. How crucial is that at this time to tap into our childlike joy and to tap into that untainted view of the world that doesn't have to do with punishment and discipline and retribution, and that paradigm that there is always something to be lost or disturbed or karmically disrupted. Page of Wands popped right out. So as we move through the first half of this month, there's a lot of activating energy for Sagittarians. When we get into Taurus season on the 19th, then we have a new moon in Taurus on the 22nd. Sun and Uranus conjunct in Taurus on the 25th, and then Mercury into Taurus on the 27th. As we put so much energy into that earth sign of Taurus, this has everything to do with taking care of yourselves as well. Nurturing and honoring your vessel, nurturing and honoring your daily practices, nurturing and honoring and worshiping at the shrine of who you are in this world now. So everything this month, Saggies, Tower, my gosh, that card. There's an energy right now. We're working on it, right? We are working with revolution energy. There's no way around it. This is just part of the process that we are on right now. And I think the sooner we can kind of get comfortable with that, the sooner we stop torturing ourselves with just thinking about it in terms of it being scary or bad. But yeah, there's all this activating energy here for you. And there is kind of a bright clarity to it. 9 of Wands. And before we even get into the rest of these cards, like I said, it was such a crisp, clear message. And even as I'm saying it now, I'm getting huge goosebumps. The Star. Because this is a time when you have nervous, neurotic thoughts or overthinking or worry that are coming up. 9 of Swords. Can't make this stuff up. Question that. It doesn't have a seat at the table right now. I don't want to put like pressure on you. This isn't about pressure. This is about you really owning your seat at the table as visionaries, as healers, as leaders, the Fool, as initiators. And not waffling so much on this idea that maybe you should make yourself smaller. Maybe you've been deluding yourself. 4 of Cups. Maybe you're not allowed. Maybe you're not allowed. Just in general, you're not allowed. This month, and 8 of Swords. This month is going to show you huge visions of how the world is shifting and how you are shifting. And they are beautiful. They are big. They are bold. They are juicy. They are very different than maybe something you pre-wrote at other times in your life. And that can get you in your head. That can get you nervous and nervous in your body, in your nervous system, in your thoughts. And that is normal. There's been a lot of talk about this idea, when you give birth to something new, there are contractions, and we contract in and we can feel that pain before and after something has come into the world. And there's a little bit of that going on here, but I want you to remember that you're allowed the seat at the table. So we start with Page of Wands, the youthful, playful, curious page, right? This guy wants to play. He wants to find out what happens next. He wants to see what happens. He doesn't mind starting a new project or being the new one on the job because he wants to see what it's all about. He has no shame in opening his heart to that, right? There's a youthful naivete that comes with the Page of Wands that sparks a light, sparks a new path. And yes, like we've talked about before, there's an evolution and a revolution afoot. And I just think about how we have our guards up. We have our fortresses and our coping mechanisms and our ways of doing things, right? We all have something wired into each of us that we've kind of developed or learned that we use to stay safe in the world, to stay safe in our life. And that's the 9 of Wands, right? The 9 of Wands kind of represents the old guard, the one that's kind of looking out for you with nervous thoughts, with scared actions, with a scared mental space, right? But it acts like it's doing something, but it's actually guarding against nothing. It's not actually doing anything. The Tower is a card of revolution, a card of liberation, freedom, fresh air in a time when you have been closed up or closed off. And once again, I want to take this conversation back to April, back to who you are as your own beautiful being today, not in, the catastrophic thinking of the world and all that's coming up right now. Let's come back to your own liberation into being your most authentic self and who you are becoming now and your worthiness within that. When we see these kind of heavier hitting cards, I just want you to think about how, in times where there's deep uncertainty and a lot of new information coming in and a lot of shift and a lot of powerlessness, feelings of powerlessness, this is often where we sit with real clarity on who we have been and how that is different now. We tap into a higher level of spirit and understanding, and that's the thing. There's this call for you all right now to step into star energy and fool energy actually too. And when you look at how these cards came out, I love it so much. Actually, I guess it was like this. Right? The star and the fool are maybe the most hopeful, jovial, playful, lighthearted, healing energies you can possibly have. One is ancient wisdom from the stars, and one is youthful wisdom from the vantage point of being a little being on the planet, moving through the world, right? And I feel like if I could explore like Sagittarian energy, it's so a combo of these two, that ancient wisdom that's kind of unseen and off this planet, and so much that childlike play on this planet. And you're being welcomed into that, right? That this is a very creative, a very curious, a very playful time for you where you can really affirm your worth. And that is happening. But what's really interesting and something to acknowledge as we look at these kind of heavier hitting cards like the Tower, like the Nine of Wands, like the Nine of Swords, is that this is where we question ourselves. We question if we're allowed. We question our path. We question our value. We question maybe who we are. Maybe that wasn't the right thing. Maybe that's not what people needed. Maybe I'm not allowed, right? That's those voices that come in and say that. And, there's a couple more here too, right? Four of Cups and Eight of Swords. We can really feel that we are deep inside nervous thinking, neurotic thinking over and over again. Byron Katie says, and I love this, and the more I've thought about this, the more I love it, there are no new stressful thoughts. At first I heard that and I thought, yeah, okay. Like, I guess that's true. But the more I thought about it, the implications of that, you think about it, and we're never exploring new territory or being true to ourselves when we're thinking stressful thoughts, because we're just repeating the same stressful thoughts that have been thought billions and trillions of times by every person that's ever existed. We're all those stressful thoughts are a repeat of the same concept over and over again. And, those stress thoughts, they're just hollow shells that look like they're doing something, right? And I know we're getting back to basics as I talk through this, but sometimes I think, we hear this so often, and when we just stop and really think about it, it's kind of mind-blowing. Because it's so natural to be taught to have the stressful thoughts as a response to life. And so I'm not surprised they're coming up here, because as you are in revolution, as you are in newness, as you are in new ways of thinking, new ways of moving, new ways of activating your light and your beauty and your potential in this world, because I tell you what, part of the reason I'm so adamant in this reading and I have the kind of energy that I have with you right now is like, I want to be very clear that you have important things to give to this world right now. You have a seat at the table, and it's an important seat. It's a seat that we need you. We need you, and we need your vibrancy. So it's important at this time to take really good care of yourselves, take care of your bodies, your routines, take care of your thoughts. Really know that you're allowed to be your glorious selves in this process. And these thoughts, these revolutionary thoughts, these new ways of thinking in your life, and we're not just talking about you and your service to the collective. Yes, that could be coming up. This is also just about you connecting to your life, to who you get to be in this world. This is a time to really own that and know you have value in owning that. And it is new, it's different. You're going to be doing things differently. You're going to be interacting with the world around you differently. And when that's happening, when those new bursts of insight about who you're becoming next start to really crystallize and become clear, of course, the fear voice is going to really want a seat at that table. Of course, it's going to ramp up and it's going to tell you why things are going to crumble and why you can't trust it, and why if you don't have answers for 6 months from now, then how do you know you're going to be okay in 1 minute? All those thoughts are going to, of course, come up bigger. The more that you're growing and changing and stretching and becoming in something new, the more that those voices are going to be a temptation to go into. So taking care of your bodies, taking care of your hearts, leaning into your childlike curiosity and play is so essential for you right now, because you are stepping into deeper relationships over the next several months. You are stepping into deeper commitments over the next several months. You are stepping into new ways of contributing to this world in the next several months. A lot of new information and ideas are coming through you. With that being said, with so much, mutable fire, you guys are definitely going to be an important part of the conversation the rest of 2020. You are important energy at this time. You are precious energy at this time. I keep getting shivers and I'm like almost gonna cry. Make sure that you give yourself enough space to process that. I'm not asking you to be overworking yourselves, overburdening yourselves because your energy is precious. I'm asking you to be extra kind to yourselves and be open to who you're becoming. Be open to that brilliant, beautiful page of wands self that is the herald of this month for you all. It's really important that you take such good care of yourselves. Okay, I have some affirmations for you all to take with you in this big, bold adventure, because as with Sagittarians, nothing can ever just be quiet and kind of demure. We're in it for the real stuff, right? So here are the affirmations. I bring something unique and powerful to the table of life. I know I am meant to be here. I allow new ideas and ways of moving through the world to come through me and into the world. I am at ease and full of trust in myself and in the path. You're anchoring into something really deep here. A certainty and a knowing that brings so much luminous beauty to that mutable fire energy you carry with you all. I'm just thinking about all the Sages that have helped me in my life, and how much you all need love and support. And I see that, you all are often the lovers and the supporters and lifter uppers of others. And right now what I'm noticing is, you still have so much energy being used in that way, and yet you are a little fragile right now. You're a little overwhelmed right now. And I am here to support you. In fact, I'm going to be doing so much over on my Patreon. So if you haven't joined me over there, I would love to see you. We're doing a lot with all the adjustment to Saturn in Aquarius, which is a really big energetic adjustment. We're going to be doing a ton with Venus doing her retrograde in Gemini, because wow, that is always a powerful transit. Oh my goodness, Venus retrograde always brings revolution in our lives. And we're going to be doing so much over on Patreon as weekly updates, discussions, worksheets. There's a lot of resources over there, so I'd love to see you. Of course, I also have a few sessions still available in late April on my one-on-one calendar. I'll leave my booking link below, and I will be opening up more sessions for May as well. Just kind of scheduling as information comes in and I know what's going on, but I will definitely be opening up more. So I would love to work with you. I would love to create that safe space for you to explore who you're becoming next and to do that one-on-one work with you and help you through that in a really calming way. So if you're looking for support in that way, I'd love to support you. Also, of course, PinkLune, my beautiful girl. She is always making something beautiful and heartfelt and full of that Taurus nurturing goodness that is her handmade jewelry. So I'll leave her link below as well. I will see you all for Moon Magic, for more readings ahead. I love you. I really love you. And I wish only the best for my Sagittarian soul family.